Hello again. Hi everyone. Lar from Complete Test Success here. Today we are looking at IELTS writing task 2. So in the live stream, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to share a question with you. In fact, it's the question that I had competition there. So it's the same question that I had in the essay correction competition there a few weeks ago. So most of you will probably be familiar with it. So basically what you're going to do is work with me and write the various parts of the essay. We'll construct the essay on screen. Most importantly for you, I'll be giving you feedback on mistakes that you're making. So if you understand what mistakes you're making, you'll be able to fix them, you'll be able to improve your weaknesses, and that's how you will improve your score. I've been teaching IELTS since 2010, and I've been an examiner in IELTS writing and speaking, which isn't really relevant today. But you know, like I have the experience and the knowledge to show you what your problems are and help you fix them. So that's the main goal today. Hi Zara, welcome. Hey Lewis, good to see you here again. Chavo here, welcome from Uzbekistan, good to see you here. Hey Crazy Chess, Versailles, welcome, good to see you here again. Okay, so let's jump into it. Let me find it here. There we go. So there is the question. I know from time to time people say it's quite small, but I do need to keep everything on the screen. I can make it a bit bigger, I suppose. Just 1 second there now. Okay, so make it a little bit bigger for you guys there. If you're on a phone, probably turn your phone sideways, you know, instead of, you know, trying to look at it that way, turn it that way, it'll be that bit bigger. Okay, so that's the question. Some believe that expensive gifts are necessary for celebrations such as birthdays, while others feel that inexpensive gifts are sufficient. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. So as with every Task 2 essay, we must begin by paraphrasing that question. So please paraphrase that question, write your paraphrase in the comments, share it with me, and I'll have feedback for you. So that's the first task, paraphrase the question, please. M-R-Y-M, hi to you, welcome. Hey Osman. Shallow, thank you, you too. Hi B Winkle. Okay, so that's it for now. You write the paraphrase, share it in the comments, and I will give you feedback. XIX, hi. I'm just checking in and trying to expose myself with English environment. Great, good to see you here. So XIX has already got his IELTS scores, so he's just kind of checking in, not because he needs to improve his scores, he already got them, but he's moving to an English-speaking country, so just wants to keep in touch with everything. Good to see you here, XIX. Is some think, okay, Lewis, some think that it is necessary to give expensive presents for birthdays or other celebrations. Maybe we'll change or to and. However, others argue that it is enough to give cheap presents. Cheap and inexpensive are different. So on the whole, that is a good paraphrase. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to add it to the document. So let's drop that in here. And I can remove the instructions. We don't need any of that stuff. We're a bit tight for space, so let's kind of tidy it up the best we can. Okay, so with Lewis's, everything is perfect except for the language cheap. Cheap means, you know, like a low price. Inexpensive just means not expensive. So inexpensive wouldn't necessarily be cheap. It's somewhere in the middle. So let's just use the same language. Inexpensive. And you said birthdays or other celebrations. Well, it would be just any celebration. So birthdays and other celebrations. Obviously, they would be happening at different times, but and is still appropriate here. Okay, great. So the next thing we need then is to decide what ideas we're going to use. So we need to discuss both views. So we need some ideas why people have the first view. We need some ideas why people have the second view. And then we're going to need an idea for our own opinion as well. So that's what I want you guys to do next. Share your ideas with me. Now, the ideas must be relevant and they must be specific. So those are the things you need to check. When you're sharing your ideas with me, before you share them, check, are they relevant? Meaning, are they about the question? And check if they're specific. A vague idea like, expensive presents are better. That's too vague. So you can't just say they're better. You have to say, why are they better or why are they necessary? So avoid vague ideas, avoid irrelevant ideas. B. Winkle, many individuals believe that valuable gifts, monetary wise. No, we just want to say directly, just say expensive gifts. Like valuable gifts, monetary wise, is not better than expensive gifts. I know you're trying to paraphrase, but it has to be, in the way that we would say it naturally. It's essential for celebrations. Okay. Whereas you need a comma before whereas others believe that cheaper gifts are enough. Good. So you need a comma before whereas and a full stop after enough. So the punctuation, 2 punctuation mistakes, and then that vocab mistake where you've tried to change expensive into something more complicated. Java here, what about the thesis? Yeah, absolutely. We need a thesis statement. So what we need before we write a thesis statement, we need to figure out what ideas we are going to talk about. So we can't really write that thesis statement until we have the ideas. Shahola, some people hold the view that expensive presents are of a necessity. We wouldn't say are of a necessity. We just say are a necessity would be fine. So remove of, are a necessity for celebrating significant events. But, and then you need a comma after but others believe some cheap gifts. No, just say some believe cheap gifts are enough. And we already spoke about cheap being a bit different in meaning. And like I said to B. Winkle, you need a full stop after the last word. Cheaper gifts are financial sound decisions, whereas expensive gifts are durable. So when you say cheaper gifts are financially sound decisions, well, if it's your birthday and I'm going to your birthday, I feel like I need to buy an expensive gift for your birthday. Why do I feel I need to buy an expensive gift? Of course, if I buy you a cheaper gift, I'll have more money. Like, we know that. But I guess it's more about like the social expectation of arriving at a party with a cheap gift, or the social expectation of arriving at a party with an expensive gift. Or let's say, I know I just said cheap, but inexpensive versus expensive. So like, of course I have more money if I spend less, but is it okay for me to do that? And then you need to say why it is okay and why it's not okay. So it's not really that I'll save money by buying a cheaper gift. That's kind of a given. But is it okay for me to do that? When I go to the party, is that okay or is that not okay? And that's what we're talking about. So of course I would save money, but that's not what the question is asking about. Expensive ones are more durable. So you're just more talking about, in general, buying cheap products versus buying expensive products. But this question is about giving those types of things as gifts. So it's more about why it's acceptable and why it isn't acceptable, as opposed to why cheap products are better and why expensive products are better. So you're not really, the truth is those ideas are irrelevant. You're not really talking about the situation where you're buying them and giving them to someone. You're more just talking about buying them. Expensive gifts last longer. That's why we need to buy expensive gifts. I'd say expensive products last longer. But why do I need to buy a gift that lasts longer when I'm going to someone's birthday? Why is it important for me to do that? So again, I think you have the same problem as B. Winkle, where you're more talking about buying cheap products versus buying expensive products, as opposed to giving cheap presents versus giving expensive presents. So I think those are different things. So again, that's irrelevant. Okay, crazy chess world. So this paraphrase isn't acceptable. You said some individuals say that celebrations like birthdays should not go without extravagance. So extravagance is that isn't necessarily the gift. So if I invite you to my birthday party and it's on, like, in a very expensive location with very expensive food and very expensive entertainment, that would be extravagance. But that's got nothing to do with the gift that you bought for me. So when you just say it the way you've said it, it's not clear that we're discussing gifts. It could be discussing other things. Before the word while, you need a comma. While there are also those who believe that reasonably priced presents can make for proper celebrations too. It's not that the present makes the celebration, it's that they're suitable or not suitable. So I think reasonably priced presents are suitable for celebrations and not too. Because it's not saying that they're also suitable, it's just whether they are or whether they're not. So some language mistakes. I think part of the problem here, and we see this a lot, is where candidates try to use complicated vocab. They try to avoid using the language that was in the question, and they make too many mistakes as a result. So it becomes unclear, or the meaning changes, rather than having the same meaning and being easy to understand. So I think part of the problem here is you could use easier vocab. You could use some of the words from the question, and that would make your paraphrase better. Thank you for mentioning that I've already obtained my score, and it is because of your free resources supporting and writing feedback. You're very welcome, XIX. No problem at all. They last longer. Again, I don't think this is really about. We've talked about these ideas already. I don't think that's really about why the presents are acceptable or not acceptable. It's more about why expensive products are better. This essay will discuss both sides of the argument, and I agree with the former view. So this would not be a good sentence to write because it doesn't show any understanding of the question. Like, I could tell somebody who doesn't speak English that if they see discuss both views and give your own opinion, they just write down this essay will discuss both sides of the argument, and I agree with the former view. Anybody can write that without really understanding what the question is about. So it doesn't show any understanding of the question. What you need to do is you need to adapt that sentence so that it's clearly discussing the topic of the question. When you just write whatever you want, when you just write something like this, no matter what the question is about, you can always write that sentence. It doesn't really show any ability in English. So we don't write sentences like that where every word has been memorized in advance of the of seeing the question. Okay. The first group considers that inexpensive gifts indicate more appreciation for the recipient. Good. While the second group believes that the mere act of giving a gift is more important than its cost. Okay. The first idea, more appreciation. We would normally use appreciation in terms of, like, you would appreciate what people do, So, like, if you have somebody in your family who works very hard to take care of everyone, you can appreciate what they do for the family. So the word appreciation here isn't quite right. And the second one, you're saying the mere act of giving a gift is more important than its cost. I get it. I worry that it's too vague, to be honest. Because if you're going to say it's more important, but why is it more important? So what happens then is it's kind of vague, and then that's your idea. And then when you go to develop your idea, you give the real reason why it's more important, or potentially you'll give a list of reasons why it's more important. So I would prefer for that second idea, more important, to be more specific. But I think the more appreciation thing, I think we can use that. We'll have to change the vocab, but we could say something like the more expensive the gift, the more respect one is showing for the people celebrating. Something like that. Okay, so that could be our first idea. We can use that. So maybe appreciation rather than appreciation. I think more respect would be more suitable. Okay, so we have one idea we can use. That's certainly a start, but we need an idea. We need another idea for the second side, and we need an idea for our opinion as well. Birthday is an important event in our life. Some people have the same opinions that we might give like mobiles to have memorable events, but not, on the other hand, cheap events can afford our essential ones. The language here isn't very clear, Zara, so I'm not sure what you're trying to say. But memorable events, I think I see what you're going with here. Like, they're necessary because they make the events more memorable. I like that one. So I'm going to use that for our view, for our opinion. I'm going to say expensive gifts are important because they make this event more memorable. Okay, so we can use that. So what we need now is one idea for the second view about why inexpensive gifts are sufficient. Your second idea, Zara, may be okay, but the vocab mistakes mean I don't understand it. So cheap gifts can afford our essential ones. I don't know what that means. So the vocab there is unclear. Hi, Rashid. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. XIX, some people believe that giving expensive gifts is essential for celebrations. Birthdays, for example. We say, for example, birthdays. It would be more in maybe in speaking or in a presentation or a speech where we'd say birthdays, for example, in that order. In speaking, we're more likely to say, for example, birthdays. While others hold that giving reasonable priced presents is enough. Yep, good. Some assume that it is necessary. No, assume is kind of like, more like guess as opposed to believe. So that's not suitable. Some assume that it is necessary to give high quality products for a birthday celebration. It didn't specifically say for a birthday. It said any celebration, and the birthday was the example. So you can't use the example as the main topic. The main topic was for celebrations. The example was birthdays. So you've used the example as the main topic instead of using the topic as the main topic. We don't use while to connect two sentences. We use while to connect two clauses in one sentence, but you're using while to connect two sentences. It's not used that way. So it should be, comma, while others argue that it is enough to give, just give, not give out, to give inexpensive presents, and you need a full stop at the end. Hi, Sam. So you need a capital letter at the start with some, you need a full stop at the end. Some people think that expensive gifts in celebration events, but just for celebrations, celebration event isn't a word, are essential, while others see inexpensive ones as enough. So you have two verbs there. You have see and are, but we only need one verb in that clause. So you could say others see inexpensive gifts as enough. Nana, some assume that it is necessary to give high quality products for a birthday celebration. So you're making the same. Oh, this is the one we just looked at a second ago, is it? You're making the same mistake with while there. Expensive gifts show our emotions, that we go to great lengths to make our loved ones happy. Okay, so I think that's like more respect. I think that's I can't think of idea for cheaper gifts. I thought my ideas were relevant. Okay. Okay, so that's the same. So we're after seeing that one again, right? They're nearly the same. Yeah. Okay. Shadi, expensive products are better quality than inexpensive ones. So no, that wouldn't be relevant. That's more about the benefits of buying expensive versus cheap products, not the benefit, not why it's okay or not okay to give inexpensive gifts. So no, that's not relevant. Okay, so you need to start that sentence with a capital letter. So it should be S, some, capital S. Some people argue that precious presents, we wouldn't say expensive and precious. Precious would be similar but different. So expensive presents are mandatory. No, necessary. They're mandatory. No, mandatory would be different. It would be like necessary is more like it's seen as socially required. It's more of a social thing, whereas mandatory would be like there's some rule written down somewhere, like at work or at school or something like that, where there's a rule about doing it. Whereas when we're saying it's necessary, it's more like socially acceptable. So mandatory wouldn't be suitable here. For celebrating functions like birthdays, while other people, while other people, we wouldn't say other portion, think that less precious presents are sufficiently enough, just are enough. We wouldn't use sufficiently enough like that. So quite a few vocab mistakes there. And it's like I was talking about earlier, it seems like you're really, really trying to use a wide range of vocab instead of just, stating the main, stating the ideas clearly with simple vocab. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to rush through the next few comments to see if I can find a second idea, because I'd like to move forward with the lesson. We're 22 minutes in. Okay, so nowadays people are interested in the kind of presents to give or celebrate, although some people think gifts should be, okay, so that's another paraphrase. Expensive gifts show the feeling of the giver, whereas cheaper gifts show that recipient is more receptive of your emotions. I don't know how you would explain that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just don't understand that idea, so I'm not going to use it. If you believe that you're financially fit to purchase an expensive gift as a present for the recipient, then it's absolutely fine. But I personally believe it depends on the recipient's social class. No, too complicated. Some people say inexpensive gifts are sufficient. Why do they say that? Why do they think that? So just say directly and respond directly to the prompt. Expensive gift, the kind of person I'm gifting, especially when is from a very high class. No, we're not talking about if you're high class or if you're low class. We're just talking in general. And of course, what's an expensive gift for someone who's rich and what's an expensive gift for someone who's poor? Those will be different things. Like if you're a billionaire or if you're an average worker, of course, what you think is expensive will be different. But it's not about that. It's not about literally how much money you're spending. It's about if that gift is expensive in your own understanding or your own opinion of what an expensive gift is. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Inexpensive, lack of funds. Okay, no, that's fine. Like, if you don't have enough money for an expensive gift, then you can't buy one. But the thing is, like, let's say it's your birthday party. I'm going to your birthday party. I have no money at the moment. So the only thing that I can do is buy an inexpensive gift for you. Now, the thing is, when I'm going to give you that inexpensive gift, am I thinking this is embarrassing because that gift is so inexpensive that I'm after buying you a cheap present and I'm embarrassed because I think it's not really okay for me to give you a cheap present? I have no choice. I have to give you a cheap one because I have no money. But is it okay for me to give you a cheap one? If I think that it's okay, then I'm not going to feel embarrassed buying you a cheap gift. So, it's not about whether I do or don't have the money. It's about what is expected. And are you expected to buy an expensive gift? Why? Are you not expected to buy an expensive gift? Why? So it's not about whether you do or don't have the money. That's not what the question is about. Hi, Prince Naheen. Other people believe that inexpensive gifts are enough because not everyone wants something that costs more than they can afford. Not everyone wants something. No. It's kind of different as well. Like, if I buy you a cheap present, is that okay? You need to explain why it is. Why is it okay if I buy you a cheap present? You know, like it's more to do with that, not whether you want it or you don't want it, but it's about whether it is or isn't okay. Is there any available in your writing course? I do. Yeah, I do. I actually have a bit more time on my hands this month. Yeah. So let me show you my email address there. I'll give it to you later. My email address is lar@completetestsuccess.com. Okay. Where am I? Hey, Wang. Good to see you here. Although most people tend to relate the cost of valuable presents, not all gifts can be measured by how much money one has spent on a special occasion. Okay, so you're getting there, Wang, but you haven't told me what way they are. So you're saying if I think that inexpensive gifts are sufficient, I think that because not all of them are measured by how much money is spent. Great. How are they measured? So it's not that they're not measured by money. Clearly, if I think it's okay to buy you an inexpensive gift, I think that it's not measured by how much money I spent. But what is it measured on? What is the other measure? I'm not equating the money value with its importance. I'm equating something else. So you're getting there, but you're not saying directly what that other measurement is. So you're getting there, but can you tell me what is the other measurement? There is. Hang on. Let me just share a link with you there. You'll see my courses. Okay. So if you look, I've just left a comment there. You can find that link in the comments and you'll see my courses there. Thanks for asking. Okay. Osman, nowadays people are interested in the kind of presents give. No, so we wouldn't say that. We just need to paraphrase the question. So don't introduce the topic generally. Just go straight into paraphrasing the question, because that extra sentence at the beginning to introduce the topic will not help to improve your score. Okay. It is believed by some that it's necessary to offer expensive products as presents. Well, we wouldn't call them products when we're giving them as presents. They're products when they're in the shop. Once you've purchased them, we wouldn't call them products anymore. Whereas others feel inexpensive gifts are sufficient. Okay, good. Is it essential to state my opinion in the introduction? 100%. 100%. You will not get a band 7 for task response if you don't put your opinion in the introduction. So it's incredibly important. Inexpensive gifts are sufficient because not everyone can afford expensive gifts, and people celebrating will understand this. But you're putting a clause. You're putting a clause. So if I don't have money, it's okay. But what if I do have money? If I do have money and I turn up with an inexpensive gift, well, then it's not okay. But the question didn't say when is it okay and when is it not okay. So you're changing what the question has asked. So it's not while others feel that inexpensive gifts are sufficient for some people. It's not that they're sufficient for some people. It's just in general, they think that inexpensive gifts are sufficient. Okay. So no, you're still not really directly answering the question. Just some girl without a mustache. It is the thought that matters, not the cost, especially thinking about the needs of that person. And it is a memorable one. Okay. I think we're there. I think we've got it. It's the thought that matters. Okay. So I think we're there. I think we can use that. Good. Okay. So what we're going to go with is Okay. The former believe that the more expensive the gift, the more respect one is showing for the celebrating, while the latter thinks that it's more important that it's more important for the gift to be thoughtful, right? So let me just explain that in case that isn't clear. So if I'm trying to say it's more important that the gift is thoughtful. So imagine if I get you, like, you know, a very expensive my brain has gone dead. Let's say I get you a very expensive a very expensive ticket to go and see a concert, right? A very expensive ticket to go and see some musician. And I give you the ticket and you're like, okay, it was expensive, but I don't like this band. I've never listened to this band. I told you before that I don't like this band. So it's like getting something expensive that the person wouldn't want. Whereas we're saying if it's thoughtful, as in, like, you know, it might not be expensive, but it's something that I'm showing I know you, I'm showing that it's related to your interests or something like that. So it's more like if I can show that I know you by buying a gift that would be something within what you like, would be more important than buying you something expensive that you have no interest in. So I think with this idea here, we're kind of falling into that side of, it's not the money, it's how thoughtful the gift is. Okay. Okay. More respect is showing for one is showing for the well, the latter thinks that it's more important for the gift to be thoughtful. My opinion is that expensive gifts are more important, are necessary, because they make the event more memorable. Okay, great. Full stop, and we're on. So our first body paragraph. Body paragraph 1 is going to be about more respect. Okay. So that is our next task. I want you guys to write body paragraph 1 for me about that idea, more respect. Let me just change the banner. Okay, so that's it. Now we need to write about 70 words. So our paragraph is going to be about 70 words long. So have a go, share it with me in the comments. And again, I'll have feedback for you on anything you're doing wrong. And I'm going to take somebody's writing. If it's, like, you know, a suitable paragraph, I'll take it and add it to the screen, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so let's have a look at the other comments here. Hassam, those who believe that inexpensive presents are enough think that a present that will remind you with them is more important than how much it is. Okay, that will remind the person of. Okay, so I'm going to rephrase it. The idea is good, but it's going to be those who believe that inexpensive presents are enough feel that the importance of a gift is to give the person something to remember. That's it. Good. So we're trying to find another value. So if it's not going to be a monetary value, it's the importance of helping people remember that you were there, that you gave them something, that you attended, that you bought them something, not how much it was. So that's good. Yep, that idea would have been suitable as well. Gifts are about showing affection and respect to others. One will attach emotionally if the gift is made by hand, like cards. No. So we're not saying that handmade gifts are more, that handmade gifts are better. We're saying, why is it acceptable to give an inexpensive gift? In what situation? Like, why do these people believe that giving an inexpensive gift is acceptable? Why do they believe that? So that's what we're looking for. Cheaper gifts are fine because not everyone is that special to waste your money. No. No. So that, again, that's not what the question is talking about. I guess I agree with your sentiment, but it wouldn't be suitable for our essay. It wouldn't be relevant. Expensive gift, maybe before he is very special to me or a lifelong friend. So again, there's nothing in the question that says we're going to the birthday of a lifelong friend. You know, it's just saying in general, if I go to a birthday, whether it's someone that I know very well, whether it's someone old, someone young, so, like, you know, like, it doesn't say who the person is. It's just saying in general, are you expected to bring an expensive gift? Why? Is it okay to bring an inexpensive gift? Why? That's it. So nothing else. We can't change the context of the question. We have to write within the context of what they have provided us in the question. Hi, Wang. Although most people tend to relate the cost of valuable presents, not all gifts can be measured by how much money one has spent, but there are other factors such as suitability and practicality. Perfect. Now you have two ideas, suitability and practicality. So to support that second view, choose one of those and try not to go too much outside, like that description. You're kind of gone in a big circle going, it's not about the money, it's about this. Just say, you don't need to say it's not about the money. Just say, you know, those who think that inexpensive gifts are sufficient believe that the suitability of the gift is the most important thing. So just say directly what the point is. XIX, giving reasonable price presents should be sufficient because celebrations are about people gathering to appreciate moments, and giving gifts so you put the article mistake there. So, and giving gifts is only a small part of the event or of these events. So just some grammar mistakes, but that idea is fine. So people who think it's inexpensive gifts are sufficient think that the gathering together of people is the important part, not the gift giving. Perfect. So now we have a reason why they think inexpensive gifts are okay, because they think that's not really what the event is about. It's about getting together. The gift is just kind of a side, less important aspect of a celebration. So this is another good way of going about it. So instead of saying, you know, it's not monetary, it's something else, it's saying it's not even the gift, it's the celebration. So that works as well. Perfect. Obviously we have an idea on the board already, so we're not using this. But yeah, that would have been perfect too. Okay. Firstly, those who advocate for expensive gifts feel that these gifts are a reflection of love, care, and appreciation. They believe that giving something costly shows thoughtfulness and effort. They give thoughtfulness and effort as the person giving the gift likely invested time and money. There's too much going on here. So you have love, care, appreciation, thoughtfulness, effort, time, money. We just want to say more respect, nothing else. We're just going to focus on more respect. And if you're adding in these extra ideas, you're going away from the point that you're trying to develop. So it shows more respect. And it's not because it took more time. We said the idea in the questions, it was more money. So why does more money equal more respect? That's the only thing we need to talk about. So that you've gone off topic is the problem there. So even though the idea is okay and you would get a band 6 because the idea is okay, when you're trying to develop it, you're introducing new ideas, and that would keep you at a band 6 for task response. So the development has to be related to your idea before it will improve the task response score. Okay, giving expensive gifts demonstrates our respect for the recipient. No one would want to give precious gifts to anyone unless they hold special place in our heart. For instance, I would give an iPhone to my mother, but I will have to consider giving it to somebody else. Yeah and no. I think we can use your ideas, but what we need to do is make sure that they're more directly related to the topic. And you're saying, we can use this. We can use this, but the thing is, at the moment, it's not really showing directly. Like, no one would want to give a precious gift to anyone unless they hold a special place in their heart. So why do I need to give an expensive gift? Right? So you're saying I'll give it to some people, but I won't give it to other people. But in the question, it's not like, why is it expected for some people? It's why is it expected in general? Inexpensive gift. They believe that inexpensive present is sufficient, because attending the event is better than the gift. So the attending the event is the most important part. So that's what XIX was saying a minute ago. Yeah. Firstly, with more respect, the recipient may feel more acknowledged and cherished when they receive a gift that is seen as exclusive or premium. We'll just say expensive. Exclusive and premium would be different, reinforcing the importance of the giver in the giver's life. Okay. So let me take. So what you said is good. This is good. We can definitely add that to our screen. So let me take a mixture. I'm going to take both of those, and we'll kind of build on top of them. So we're going to add them together. XIX Bwinkle, you're on Facebook. Okay, give me a second there. Okay, so the first thing I want to do with this is just make it really clear that I am actually addressing the topic. So those who feel that expensive gifts are necessary see giving gifts as demonstrating our respect, maybe as showing more respect for the recipient. So now we're clearly talking about the question. So that's the first thing. No one would want to give precious gifts to anyone unless they hold a special place in our heart. No. So what we want to say is more clearly is when someone gives an expensive gift to another, it is seen as representing the importance that they have for their relationship, because it is unlikely for anyone to spend a lot of money on someone they don't like. So I think that's what you're trying to say, Bwinkle. For instance, I gave an iPhone. I think iPhone is weird like that, isn't it? iPhone, something like that. For example, I gave an iPhone to my mother because she is the person I love most in the world, but I wouldn't spend that much money on anyone else. So now we're kind of pointing it at the question. So now it's clear that we're addressing why it's important to have expensive gifts, and that if you don't buy an expensive gift, you're kind of saying, I don't really like you that much. So we can see why now the expensive gifts are important. And that's what we needed to do. Nana, I said I was going to include yours because this was good. I don't think we need it now. We have enough here already. In fact, that paragraph looks like it might be a little bit too long. Yeah, it's a little bit too long, but it's okay. We wouldn't delete it after writing it. Okay, so that's body paragraph 1 finished. What we would want is more about like 70 words, just to make sure it's not that a longer paragraph is bad. I'd never write this and then delete it because there are too many words. But the problem is when we write longer paragraphs, we end up in a situation where we might not have enough time to finish the essay. And that's where the problem is with when a paragraph is too long, you don't have enough time to finish, or maybe it takes you longer to finish and you don't have enough time to go back and fix vocab and grammar mistakes. Okay, so obviously we would need to write body paragraph 2 about that second idea. So what was our second idea? It was that the gift must be thoughtful. And then we had body paragraph 3 was about our opinion. And we said that expensive gifts were necessary because they make an event more memorable. Okay. And then we need the conclusion. Obviously, I've covered this in my the lessons on my Facebook page and YouTube channel. So, I've gone through all of this stuff in detail. We just don't have time to write all of those paragraphs now. It took us quite a while to get the ideas, but hopefully you can see why those ideas earlier on weren't suitable, as in like expensive products last longer. Well, that's not why I'm buying an expensive gift for someone. It's not because they'll last longer. It's kind of like, how is it perceived by the person receiving? How is it interpreted? How does the person receiving it feel? Why would they say, yeah, great, that's great, an inexpensive gift. I didn't invite you for a gift. I invited you because I wanted to spend time with you, which is what XIX was saying. Or the idea we had here is that, I can't even remember. It's more thoughtful. So if I buy a gift that's, catering to your hobbies and your likes, and I don't buy you something that's got nothing to do with your interests. So that's the importance. Okay, so we're not going to have time to write any more paragraphs, but I do want to go through the rest of the comments. So let's have a look at these here. People usually buy expensive gifts out of respect for the people celebrating. By spending a lot of money on the present, the giver may not have to regret their decision later on. That's the idea is fine, but the development, the explanation isn't about why it shows more respect. You're just saying they might regret it later on, but then why would they regret it later on? You've got to tell me that in the next sentence. So just tell me what you want to say in that second sentence, instead of kind of vaguely introducing some concept and then telling me later. So you want to be more direct. On the one hand, those who think that giving expensive gifts is necessary for celebrations believe that it shows that the giver respects the recipient more. Good. This is because giving presents that cost a lot of money requires a lot of investment and can only be done by people who truly care about the recipient. Good. For example, in many societies, people expect to receive expensive gifts from their closer friends. No. 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 Because you're just kind of repeating what you said here. I want try and give me something more specific. You know, like, for example, my best friend gave me a really cheap present and I was annoyed because I thought that they cared more about me. You know, something like that. On the one hand, precious presents show more respect. Okay, so we've seen, for example, precious presents show. So we talked earlier on about the word precious not being suitable. So on the one hand, expensive presents show more respect to the recipient. For example, when Aunt Ambani received many precious gifts from many business tycoons. So that's incomplete. So what happened? So you said when they received it. So it would have to be when that happened, comma, and then you talk about the result or the outcome. So that's not that's an incomplete sentence. I am at those who believe that offering expensive gifts can enhance their social status by attracting everyone's admiration. Yeah, so that would be a different idea, but yes, in my country, for example, rich people find such occasions as birthdays and weddings a fertile environment to showcase their wealth and possessions, leading to more respect and appreciation from the less wealthy. Yeah, makes sense. Good. You shouldn't use contraction. It's okay. It's okay to use contractions in task 2. Can we go to the one idea for our opinion in that same paragraph? No, not with the structure that I teach. There are different structures. There are like 3 or 4 different structures that I can think of off the top of my head that are acceptable for this question type. But what I teach is to have one idea for the first view. That should be about 70-word paragraph, one for the second view, and then one for your opinion. Like, inevitably, your opinion is going to be saying, I agree with the first or I agree with the second. So essentially, it's a second idea to support one of the views, but you're doing it within the context of why you agree with one of them. Secondly, in terms of thought, so this is punctuation mistakes. In terms is 2 words. You can't have a capital letter. You need a space after the comma. In terms of thoughtfulness, and you need another comma. Expensive gifts are also seen as memorable and long-lasting, often associated with quality, luxury, and exclusivity, which can make the recipient feel valued. There are too many things going on. So I think just go with valued, because when you have thoughtfulness, memorable, long-lasting, quality, luxury, exclusivity, valued, it feels like you've got 7 points that you're making. So just choose one thing. I think like the main idea there is valued. Just put that in as the main thing and remove the extra stuff, because it just kind of distracts the reader from what you're trying to say. I meant those in favor of offering expensive gifts think that. I didn't notice that mistake. I don't know what, I'm not sure. Those in favor of offering. Those who believe that offering expensive gifts, those in favor of offering expensive gifts think that. No, I don't see any issue there. Good. Well, normally, the more expensive the price of a gift we spend is closely, I delete we spend. The more expensive the price of a gift is closely tied to how special a person meant to us. Okay, so normally, I think just keep it simple. The more expensive the gift, comma, the more it shows how special the person is to us. So the grammar structure and the vocab isn't quite right there. I understand what you're saying, but it's a bit too complicated. So I just simplify that in the way that I mentioned. In fact, people are more willing to fork out their money. Now, fork out is an informal word. It's a great word. Like if you were to use that in your speaking test, that would be great. But it's an informal word, so we wouldn't use that. Fork out their money to those whom we think are important to us. People are more willing to fork out their money to those whom we think. So you said people are, so we wouldn't say we think, it's they think. So people are more willing to fork out their money to those whom they think are important to them. So you've switched the focus. You started with people and then you start talking about we and us. So that would be a mistake with the referencing. For example, we tend to buy costlier and branded presents for someone such as our employer or teachers on special occasions, so that should be plural, to show that they are valuable to us. This is because valuable gifts are prone to be more costly because of the quality and price. So here, your example is just an example of someone buying an expensive gift for someone. It's not really an example of that gift representing for people such as our employers or our teachers. No, it's not really an example of it. You're not writing it in a way. So if you say, we tend to buy more expensive gifts for teachers that we like because we want them to know how highly we value them, that would be okay. This is because valuable gifts are prone to be more costly because of the quality and price. Well, they're valuable. If they're expensive, it's about the price anyway. So that's kind of redundant to say that expensive is related to the price. So that's not necessary. And for some, these gifts symbolize the importance of the occasion and the significance of the person in their life. Yeah, so that would be two ideas. And you're kind of going back to the start when we're thinking of ideas now. Can we just write our opinion in the conclusion, even though we have different idea? Yeah, you can just write your opinion in the conclusion. You would have to put it in the introduction as well. I would like to ask for agree or disagree. Can I agree and use 2 reasons? No. If you just talk about your opinion, you're not discussing both views, and you would get a band 4. No, a band 5 for task response. Thanks for the correction. I joined your live session for the first time. You're very welcome. Can I use an example to elaborate my explanation? Absolutely, 100% you can. Okay, so I think that's about all we have time for today. I think the main thing we've seen is mistakes in vocab and grammar, quite a few mistakes in punctuation. And then when you're generating ideas, not clearly understanding what the question is about or changing what the question says. So, like, oh, if someone is rich. But no, we're not saying if someone is rich. It's just the question wasn't about whether someone is rich or poor. It's just in general, so it's not about who is buying the gift or who is receiving the gift. It's just in general, when you're buying gifts, why should they be expensive, or why is it okay if they're not expensive? So it seemed like a lot of you guys were trying to adapt the question to suit your idea instead of adapt your idea to suit the question. So you need to be really careful with that. Irrelevant ideas will bring you down to a band 5 or a band 4 very quickly. So you need to be very, very careful with that. Okay, so that's it for today. Take care of yourselves, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.